AI and blockchain, new solutions that actually work.
All right, time to kick it off, I guess. So just to paint the picture for everyone, what does it really mean, like AI solutions which actually work? The perspective we'd like to take on blending AI with Web3 is to kind of cut through the fluff a little bit, because I think we'd all agree that the last 12 months have been incredible in terms of introducing the concept somewhere at the high level, that AI is going to come there, fix a lot of problems we've been facing like within the sector, and it's going to be all great. So the next 19 minutes, 34 seconds we're going to spend trying to demystify this concept, how much it's true, how much it's not. But before we get there, let me, in their own words, introduce the panelists. Ida, if you could say just a few words about yourself.
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Ida. I'm a CEO of Altonomics, which is essentially a Web3 consultancy out of Europe, and I'm also CEO of Ripple Effect, which is a Web2 and Web3 consultancy here out of the Emirates. My background is in Web2 and Web3. I had my digital companies. I worked for New Protocol, EY, etc. So I'm kind of always trying to find the ways how to bring the Web2 and Web3 worlds together.
Right, Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, I jumped the gun. Hi, my name is Fabio. I'm the CEO and founder of Codex. We're a software company. We specialize in Web2 and Web3. And we're also bridging the AI and blockchain in the next few months, hopefully.
Good afternoon. My name is Igor. My background's in cybersecurity for blockchain. And right now, we have developed a new blockchain with AI embedded into it. So it's a first dynamic consensus that allows the chain to actually adapt to the environment and scale based on its needs. So instead of, we believe that instead of building up and creating different layers, you create one proper one, and then that eliminates everything else. And so we are strong believers of everything going to be power-driven or have an element of AI. So we are looking in a way how to automate it and how to make everybody not so scared of it.
All right, thank you guys. And my name is Jarek Bialek, and I represent Revenue Capital, which is a Web3 VC and a venture builder, where we actually start mingling. That's what I just said at the beginning. We start mingling AI with Web3 in a few different ways. But let me stop here. Okay, so I mentioned about the last 12 months, and the last 12 months bringing, at least at the surface, quite a few changes. It definitely changed the narration around Web3 when it comes to introducing sectors now like DeFi, AI, and so on and so forth. So if you had to sum it up, like what exactly has happened like over this last 12 months? Like why this change is significant? Why we think is significant? In your own words, like maybe let's start from the end. Igor, what's your take on that?
Interesting question. So I believe AI is going to be involved in everything. Every bit of it's going to have AI. I think, at least we're trying to push it in there right now, as because it's a cool thing. But I think it's going to expand on it. So consider that blockchain is evolving. I think DeFi is one way, but we're forgetting about the strength of the actual technology behind it, and that majority of people on this panel are specializing in bringing Web 2 into Web 3, and that's everybody's expertise. Because at the end of the day, the speculative element of DeFi and speculative element of all the tokens and everything else goes away, and we actually have some strong technology behind it, which could be implemented and should be implemented in regular world to bring the Web 2 into Web 3. The part that scares majority is actual integration, and scares people of the cost and involvement. So the simpler and the more it becomes seamless to everybody, the easier the integration and development and bringing in the projects from Web 2 into Web 3 will be easier.
Right, Fabio?
Cool. So yeah, AI at the moment obviously is still is everywhere, and I also think that it's going to change the world for everyone. But I think the thing to think about is obviously every day using ChatGPT, Claude, and all these different technologies. The issue here is ultimately is when do we know that we're actually getting the correct answer? One of my colleagues from Malta, because I'm based from Europe, mentioned hallucination. So for those that are not familiar with the term hallucination, it's when ChatGPT or pick your product like Claude gives you an answer and you actually think that it's giving you the correct answer, when in reality it's not. So the question is that yes, AI is fantastic and these LLMs are great, but when do we know that we have the correct answer? And that's where blockchain comes in. So for those of you who are not familiar, there is a chain called Chainlink, and there's a product called Chainlink Deco, where essentially the idea is to use blockchain to validate what the different AI agents are saying. So in terms of AI agents, how does that work? Nowadays you have an AI agent, so it's basically, imagine it's one process that does a particular task. And you might have multiple agents doing the same thing. So for example, giving you the price of 1 Ethereum to USDT. Now, how do we validate that that is correct, that we're getting the actual correct value? That's where the blockchain comes in. So again, as I've mentioned in the past, AI and blockchain are going to be at the yin and the yang, where they complement each other. And I definitely see in the next 24 months for things to accelerate rather than slow down.
Ida?
So yeah, essentially what's, I think the main switch in the last year was more proactive, looking into the use cases of how AI and blockchain can actually be integrated together. Why? Because AI started significantly changing business environments, I would say somewhere around 2017, 2018. Whoever worked in big corporations know about robotic process automatization, AI agents, back when it was still not a buzzword in Web3. Then what happened around 2016 to 17, you started getting like a lot of buzz around Web3, around blockchain, around crypto in general. And each of them went its own way, right? So you had companies that were like moving in Web3 direction, looking for investment and capital for Web3, building the infrastructure. And then you had companies that went into the AI direction, wanted to automate the processes, to enable much more efficient, like doing business, etc. What happened in the last year is because we had a long, like 2-3 years of a bear market, where builders were actually starting to build more blockchain solutions that can be synced and synergized with the AI, because they realized the way to go forward is not just being like divided, but going together with the AI. So how do they come together? What AI does, AI helps automate and make blockchain operations much more effective. So for example, if you have like trading, with AI, you can have much more optimized transactions. You can have order books that are AI driven. You don't have to do everything manually. It really helps to speed up all of the processes, whether on the side of the blockchain, how it helps AI to make AI more transparent, to make it more trustworthy. Like we all know type of deep fake videos where you're not even sure, you know, is it real, is it not real? We've seen these Mission Impossible type of examples. With the blockchain, you can actually verify and validate the data that AI is creating, and with this you can bring more trustworthiness. Where I see the last 12 months went is in this direction. So you have like Singularity Net, where you have AI marketplace, where you can exchange the agents, where you can have more decentralized approach to the agents building, to the models building, etc. So I think this is the biggest thing that we have achieved in the last 12 months, and I think we are on a good trajectory to have it combined even better moving forward.
All right. So one of the criticisms, let's say, I keep hearing this all the time, is that when all this AI-related frenzy started, so the market was really, really receptive in terms of what AI can do, changing our lives. So what happened is that at some point, like Web3 jumped in the train of AI, which was just, you know, starting to keep the pace and running, which means that essentially Web3 became a client of AI. Like we consume the technologies created, not necessarily having Web3 in the sort of center of attention, but they're created elsewhere. So that most of the running and existing technologies, like representing AI in Web3, are actually APIs, which are just plugged in over there. So in other words, Web3 hasn't really contributed yet to the development research of AI itself. Now, are you seeing this changing, like with maybe some concrete examples? Like, Ida,
Yeah.
what do you think?
So my experience was with Near Protocol. I don't know how many of you know about Near Protocol, but it's essentially a blockchain project that started as an AI project. It started as an AI project in 2018, and because there was not enough of, let's say, high accuracy of the data validation, they decided to pivot more towards the blockchain. What happened in the last couple of years was that the AI is becoming more accurate, and there is much more use cases to combine these two together. So, for example, I can say from the side of Near, what I know that Near is doing, they are putting a lot of the effort into the research labs where a lot of developers are being given like the rewards and bounties to develop new types of models. They are open sourcing AI, so if you have, for example, OpenAI and stuff like that, it's more centrally driven type of models. What Near is working on is outsourcing the building of the models with like the aim is to have 1.3 trillion prompts that are open source data, and this is where I see that AI and blockchain can work perfectly together and have it more tangible in the way how blockchain and Web3 can support the AI operations to build more trustworthy AI models.
Excellent. Fabio?
Yeah, I agree a lot with what Ida said. As in, ultimately, again, it's more of a collaboration I see rather than one consuming the other. Especially if you look at, for example, another protocol called the Ocean Protocol. So you have a lot of different trading models where you can also consume them whilst also keeping privacy in mind. However, us as a tech company, obviously, we cannot think about development. So there's a security aspect, but where we say, listen, okay, we're going to launch a new smart contract or anything, as in, and how are we going to secure that? In fact, recently we had one of a very horrible stories where 1.5 billion, as in tokens, got stolen. And that's where I think AI could be a huge incentive, which already is, where we're using AI to vet smart contracts and ensure that they're doing exactly what they're meant to be doing. But I still believe that we're still at its infancy, where we can use AI even further to monitor certain things and even secure more the blockchain. So again, I sincerely believe that it's a matter of a collaboration rather than one consuming the other.
Yeah, maybe just to, on what Fabio said, the hack that recently happened with Bybit, there is a project called Forta Network, and their systems are designed, their modules are designed to be able to soon detect this type of threats and to prevent the things that happened a couple of days ago. So again, how Web3 and AI can work together into enabling much more better solutions.
That one incident alone, I think, put everybody on their back. Like, for a minute there, we thought we were safe, and then this happens, right? So like I said, my background is in cybersecurity, and this kind of like put everybody to a stop. It was just like, you know, they've done all the processes, and Bybit are very diligent and conscious on terms of the security and what they're doing, right? So that just, and it even happens to them because there are loops and they're getting creative. They're finding new ways. The same way with AI. The data changes, the relevance changes. And today, as before, I was sitting with one of the previous panelists, and we were discussing what could he talk about on the panel. He had a keynote. He literally answered the data, and it gave him some nonsense. I mean, like, blockchain is typically just fraud-related stuff. I'm like, what? No, can't be. We can't speak about this here. So, jokes aside, we're working on it, but we have to keep ethics in mind and seeing what is being inputted and what is the contributing party into this data, because AI is gathering information and then regurgitating it back to you. And so we have to take that into consideration when we're looking at it. I see, including my own daughter, is heavily relying on ChatGPT, way more than I like her to. I say, you learn your math and then do it, but then she does it. And I find my my employees and my team is doing everything through ChatGPT. And I'm like, well, you guys know how to do it, great, but then we're spending time to validate it. We're using it to simplify our lives, but then it's still not quite there. And we're having to double check ourselves because we don't trust it 100%. And when you do trust it, that's where, flaws come out. And at this point, we want to prevent it. When it comes to security and using AI to scan the contracts, we use AI to create and generate smart contracts, to simplify it, converting human words into actual coding. And it's been working great, and in simple terms, it actually comes out pretty decent. I want to say for the past 2 months, everything's been 10 out of 10. But we're still giving the option of having the audit. Now, the precipice of the code and the security company get together, one's charging like, we can do it in 2 hours, write the code, and then the security guys, we can check it in 2 days, and then we'll charge you 10K for it. That's another problem for preventing. So the more accessible things become, the more it becomes seamless for everybody, and everything becomes on the back end. Like, nobody wants to care what it is, AI, which LLM model is used for it, or anything like that. They want to know that it's going to get stuff done. And so at the end of the day, the easier we make this for the consumers, the more adoption happens. And I think that it's very important that we verify and identify those that we're using. So
maybe if I can give an example to what Igor was saying. So I worked with one of the largest, if not the largest, pharma company for a long time with their innovation department. And we started talking about the use cases of blockchain in the healthcare and stuff like that. And then they said, a lot of these companies, they are doing a lot of R&Ds in a specific areas, let's say preventing, breast cancer. And they all have their data sets. What is the problem is that they are not able to exchange these data sets between each other because it's a very high sensitive protected data. So with using blockchain, with using zero-knowledge proofs, with using trusted executional environments that are essentially enabling the data to be put in the same system and apply the AI learning on top of that and come up with some sort of conclusions, you are able to really see the power of these two in a specific use case that can be really beneficial for multiple reasons. And I think healthcare is one of the most important industries in general to utilize this know-how in.
I have to add to that because that's exactly what we're working on. And our vision is that every health facility, everybody can deploy an easy way to deploy. Use their existing data sets that they have. They have enormous amount of data sets, which based on HIPAA laws and everything else, they can't exchange. They're not allowed to. But they can still do a lot of great research. And if you make this easy, and you give them a platform on which they can deploy not something of relevance today, but tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and deploy different LLM models, we're essentially untying their hands in research, development of treatments, and so on. So it has a lot more power than we're giving it right now.
So since time is ticking, unfortunately, as a closing remarks, perhaps, could you share your views on the so-called DeepSeek effect in terms of how a more efficient approach towards data processing, what this might mean for the Web3 natives in terms of business models, adoption?
It's very simple. It's kind of you're scattering, like you are cutting the things in smaller pieces and making it more efficient in the way how you are training the models and the way how you're using the computational power. It's similar like AWS systems. You remember, like sometimes you needed to buy like one big server, and then you in Web 2, and then you like went into the area where you could just like buy some instances that dynamically can, extend or become smaller as you need them. This is the same type of thing, only in terms of, AI training models.
Yep. Fabio?
So DeepSeek I think is an advantage for everyone here in this hall, because ultimately it brings more competition and puts fire under the people who are creating ChatGPT, Claude, etc. But what's more interesting is that ultimately what do we need is accessibility. the average business person out there who's not very technical as us sort of needs accessibility. As Igor mentioned before, something that's very easy to use, you forget completely about the barriers to entry. And yes, ultimately, even on blockchain, we're also making what we call deepen, which in very, very quick summary is infrastructure accessible for everyone. So rather than having tens of thousands of euros spending, or dollars, sorry, on servers, it's accessible to the average Joe out there. So yeah.
Igor, as the dot at the end of the sentence.
I'll make it simple. I think DeepSeek actually gave a kick in the ass for OpenAI. It made them overthink their budgets, in simple words, because they can do 10 times more for 100 times less, right? But at the end of the day, that's what this industry is about. Somebody is good only up until somebody else comes around and surpasses them. So this was a perfect example. And this is the same way the operation of a blockchain was considered to be expensive, because nodes are expensive. And we've created a node block sharing system that fractionalizes nodes and the cost of it. You don't have to pay for the whole consumption. You pay for what you use. We're moving towards where this is all becoming not a dream but a reality. And I am super excited to be part of this era right now.
Hit a nail to the head. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Time is
you.
up.
Bravo, thank you so much. Thank you. A kind reminder to catch up with these amazing people off the stage. Oh, a picture? Let me take a picture for you. Would you excuse me, everyone, for just... You have DeepSeek installed, yeah?